Welcome to the Sales League show. Welcome to actually our first podcast. This is
Numero uno.
The first one. Yeah. Numero uno. How you
Yeah.
doing today?
Good. I was a little nauseous this morning. A little stomach bug.
Are you pregnant?
Don't tell anyone.
No. We're just kidding. We know a man can't get
it is
pregnant.
2023, so
Anything's possible.
anything could happen. Not to get political. No, outside of that, I'm feeling good.
Feeling good. You look good.
I'm excited.
Yeah, you're doing great. I'm really excited about, one, being in the same room as you because we've been traveling a lot lately for work and for fun and vacation and yada, yada. But two, I'm excited because I think this has probably been a desire of ours to do for a while, to do a podcast. And I think that's kind of the premise of this whole episode is to actually talk like, hey, why would two white dudes create another podcast sharing their thoughts and opinions?
Yeah.
And
I don't think there's any podcasts out there. I don't think there's any white guys with podcasts
sharing their opinions and thoughts on the world.
I haven't seen anything. Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we start here? Let's just dive in. Let's have a little fun today. Why did you want to start this? Because I think it's good for people who are just first, coming into our ecosystem. They're like, what the heck are these two, numbnuts even about? Why should we even listen to them? Why should we give them any of our time? Because that's their most valuable asset. So why did you want to start this?
Great question. So glad you asked.
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, reflecting back in terms of like why starting this and everything, honestly, like the reason I'm going to give is like a very selfish reason, which is I want to have a place where we can share what we are experiencing with sales professionals we're working with, businesses we're working with. We can share what is working. One, because it's fun. It allows me, since we've been working together, one of the things you've learned from me is kind of an internal processor.
Yeah.
Big time. And so it allows me to externally process some of those things. But I'd say like the number one reason, again, that is selfish, is a place to just document things. As we are growing our community, the Sales League, as we are growing our business, I want to have a place where we can document and just talk about the things that we are going through, that we are experiencing, what's working, what's not working. And obviously, anyone who is watching this, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to this or watch this episode. But for me, I'd say the reason is kind of selfish in the sense that I want a place to just document things.
So you've said document like 3 times, 4 times maybe in your last, your statement. Why is documenting valuable or important to you?
Yeah, couple reasons. I would say the only way for you to I've learned the only way for me to like get better at things is if I'm consistently like reflecting back on them, and part of being able to reflect back on something is to document it. So I'm like,
give an example of where else you've documented something in your life and you've seen that it's actually been beneficial for you.
Yeah. When I was producing full time as a sales rep, every single week, and I still do this now, every single week I would recap the week. And basically I would outline like, here's the numbers that I produced this week, here's what went well, here's what didn't go so well, here's what I want to do better. And by sitting down and actually taking the time, and I still do this, I have a little Remarkable. Shout out to Remarkable. Please sponsor this show.
Yeah. If you'd like to
Remarkable.
sponsor this show and one episode in has already told you want to put your marketing dollars to good use, we love Remarkable.
Hey,
keep going.
Always be selling, right?
Always
be getting
we should
sponsors.
just misquote as many sales books that are out there as we possibly can.
Always be selling.
Care
ABS.
more about the credit card than the customer. Only sales professionals will think that's funny, though. No one else will actually ever think that that's funny.
You know what? I would say 90% of the things that I do and say is to like make me laugh a lot of times, and I really don't care if someone else does.
You know, if you're doing anything in life that's not for yourself,
Just
then why does it even matter? We should never care or live for anyone else.
I'll say things sometimes to my wife, and she's like, that's not even funny. I'm like, it is to me.
Yeah.
I'm tickled, man.
Well, the good thing is you're not paid to make other people laugh. So,
No,
but
thank
back
God.
to documenting.
Back to documenting. So
documenting.
a lot of times is I would sit down and I would actually like write out, document things. And what that does is it allows you to fix and adjust things much quicker when you're actually taking time. And part of this podcast is us sitting down, talking, gives us space in our week to catch up, talk about, whatever's on our minds, kind of reflect on things.
Yeah.
But it allows you to proactively fix things a lot faster, because you could have a problem in your business, in your sales process, and it is a problem for, a month, 2 months, 3 months. And if you would have just simply sat down and every week just documented, you might have been able to catch it faster. And that problem, instead of it taking 3 months to get it fixed until it becomes a big problem, it takes, 7 days.
Yeah.
So I think with us and us doing this every single week, it's just a really good opportunity to, again, there's that word, document things.
And let's be honest, we were already doing this. Like, we were already getting together. Sometimes we'd get together at 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. at a coffee shop on Saturday mornings, recap, before our kids and family awoke for the weekend.
Yeah.
And it's like, we noticed when we got together consistently per week, and we were like, yo, let's actually look at what went well, went wrong, and then what we need to fix and adjust for the week. We saw our weeks actually be extremely productive, because we weren't like, what are we doing? And even though we were both blocking off on our calendars and we were both being proactive individually, it wasn't until we came together, we used that power of really unity and looking at things from both perspectives and saying, okay, this is how we believe the week needs to go moving forward. So, I mean, the reality is we really are just documenting it. For me, I think I honestly, when we started studying more about marketing, because I would say that we love sales and we're great at it, but marketing is just something we still have to learn, and we have to sharpen our axe in that, that arena.
Yeah.
But when we started learning about marketing, and I was like, man, we have to do all these posts and we have to do all these things. And then what the heck do you even talk about? Who wants to just ramble and hope to God that someone else likes it and hears it?
Yeah.
But when I started realizing we take this whole strategy that everyone uses, which is do long form, chop it up for short form content. Awesome. Great. It seems to be working for everybody. Let's take a swing at it. But then I was like, okay, but what do we talk about for a long form? And I realized we're already having long form conversations. So we might as well just hit the record button on our conversations that we have to have anyways, we want to have, we need to have. And then the value that I believe that we're going to do that right now. I'd love for us to even, show that example, but I believe the value that we can give to people is that we can say, yo, watch us as we go through it. Watch our wins, watch our failures, watch us laugh and be dumb and try it. But at the same time, hopefully what we're walking through right now maybe there's a gold nugget for you. Maybe you're a business owner and you're crushing it, and you hear something about what these small time business owners are doing at the time of this recording, and you're like, yo, I remember that. Oh, it makes me think about X. And then you go and leverage that to, go crush and make another $1 million next week or something, whatever. But
100%.
Looking back right now, just talking about documenting and the power of it. What are you seeing right now in the world of the no-show rate? Because I still believe that the whole no-show rate is very under the radar, and people really aren't. It's almost like they don't think it can be fixed. And they're just like, oh, I just have to spend more ad dollars. But right now, we have to fix that in a couple of our businesses. It's one of the things that we do. So, most people don't know this, but I'll just say this real quick. In the Sales League, we basically have two arms to who we are and to what we do. One arm is we help sales professionals basically stop being broke and make more money by giving them full control over their money, over their time, over their everything. And then the other side is that we help businesses basically do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Just a lot more one-on-one and hands-on.
So when it comes to the business side of what we do, one of the things that we've seen, and I think a lot of people have seen in the industry as well is increases in no-show rate or decreases in show rate, whichever verbiage you use. And when it comes to that, there's a couple key things to look at that I've noticed. One that I would say is very important is we have like one company that we're working with in particular, and there's a couple different reps on the team, and all the reps on the team had above like a 60% show rate. One guy had like an 80% show rate, which is really good. Like everyone that was on his calendar was showing. And then there was one guy that's like, I think something's broken. I have a 35% show rate. Like, you know, I've taken 4 consults this entire month, and I've had 26 or 28 of them on my calendar. And so I think one important thing to pay attention to is the people that you have on your team and how you are training them, because there is a lot of people like to automate stuff. There is like a manual side to things. And I'd say when we have all these amazing automations out there of like automated texts and emails, we still want to make sure there's a human side of someone's on your calendar. You're taking time at the beginning of your day or the end of your day to actually reach out to that prospect and say, hey, I sent some additional material your way, training, case study, excited for our call tomorrow. That small thing can make all of the difference. Again, the client I'm thinking of where their one sales rep had like an 80% show rate, he was doing all those things like to the T. Beginning of his day, he was texting every single person on his calendar. End of the day, he was reaching out to anyone who didn't respond to those texts. The other thing we've added as well is sending people like a piece of what we call like pre-call prep homework or something. I wouldn't use the word homework for your prospects, but giving them something to go through before the call so you have a reason to reach out. Hey, Josh, saw you
like
on my...
some type of survey or some type of thing that's
quiz. Quizzes are great.
Yeah, because it's not a homework. Because when you say homework, it
No, I
feels
wouldn't say
like,
homework.
God, there's something more I have to do.
Yeah.
And sadly enough, yes, you do have to do work to make money in this world. I know, shocker.
Yeah.
But with your verbiage, you don't want to say that to them because then they could get kind of pulled down or whatnot. But if you say to them, hey, for us to better serve you this way before our call, would you be opposed to answering a couple of these questions to give me the information so I can show up to the call to help you? Now that's like, oh, I'm going to do this because it's going to make my call that much better.
Yeah, and it also what I try to, whenever I'm teaching people on how to help with increasing show rate, we're really looking for like 3 things. One, we're looking to make sure people accept like the calendar invite, you know, because there's a lot of people that will just book on the calendar and they don't even accept it. I like to see that little green check mark on like Google or Outlook, whatever you use. So I want to make sure they accept. Second thing is I want to make sure that they're actually being responsive. So the sales rep I was talking about earlier, he does a really good job to engage with people before the call to see who's responsive, to see who he needs to spend time, effort, and energy on. And if they're not being responsive, okay, maybe I need to replace that consult and I need to go find someone else for that call. And the last piece is getting them to complete something. So that is your quiz, survey, having something that they can go through that actually gives them some type of value that isn't just, you know, bull crap, like just fill out this random survey, but something that like if you're selling, so one of the clients that we're working with, they help people with landing jobs, essentially, like they're career coaches. And the survey that we put together with them was basically having people rate their readiness when it comes to like being prepared to step into that next job role. How good your resume, how good is your negotiation skills, what's your LinkedIn profile look like. So it has the prospect rate all of these different things. And that way, if we can get them to complete that, if we can get them to accept the invite, respond to our messages, and complete that survey, which literally takes 20 seconds to just check some boxes, the likelihood of them showing to the call, being serious on the call, just increases drastically.
Yeah, I think there's I think gone are the days of where, closers, AEs, whatever you want to call yourself, can just simply say, oh, like, yeah, you just put them on my calendar and I'll knock them down. You set them up, I'll knock them down. You set them. I'm like, even when I was knocking them down, you don't just get to show up. Like, you can't just show up and hop on a call and be like, oh yeah, it worked. It's just not how it works, because you're not taking full responsibility and ownership of that call or that person. And here's what I think I realized very quickly when I got into sales was like, oh, I can think that they're just going to show up and I should just call the person, and my setter should set it up and I'll just call them. And if they don't show, it's the setter's fault. And when I realized very quickly, oh wait, there's a human being on the other end of that line. And as much as I would love for them to think, as much as I would love for it to be that, like, I am the only call that they're worried about.
And they're sitting by their phone just waiting. They're like,
waiting for the next 3 days.
Oh, I can't wait till Josh calls me.
Yeah, before they talk to me. And it's like, oh my God, this is going to be the best because I have the solution to all their problems and this is going to make me money. And I had to take that mindset and just literally throw it in the garbage and be like, no. This other person could have kids, could have a family, could have a job. Obviously, for what we were selling, they had a business. It was struggling. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on, not to mention other things, other variables and uncontrollable things that are happening. And it's like, oh, and by the way, don't forget about this 45-minute call. And let's be honest, you set something and 4 or 5 days later, you don't know what's going to hit you. And then you're like, oh, I've got to show up for this call.
Yeah.
And I think if we would start realizing like, hey, that's a human being and they've got other crap going on in their life.
Yeah.
So go the extra mile, go the extra step to get their attention, to make sure that they're being responsive, to make sure that they are actually completing something, because then it's going to start building to some degree that level of trust, that level of belief that like, wait, this person actually is about me or my business or my problem or my solution. And I just think, yes, you can. I mean, you build some of the greatest workflows I've seen, some of the greatest automations I've seen. But I think if sales pros could take that and it not be the end all be all, like, oh, well, that automation should just be doing everything for me. And it's like, no, that should be like icing on the cake. What should be crushing for you right now is your work ethic, your ability to be relentless, your ability to, I don't want to say this because I know it's going to trigger some people.
Dude, say it, freaking say it.
Not take no for an answer. Oh. Because no for an answer, like when I say that, don't take no for an answer, I don't mean like old school boiler room approach, just go for the yes. I am not saying that. So all you freaking trolls are going to want to come and try to holler about that. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that there is a relentless pursuit of saying, I'm going to do everything in my power to give you, prospect A, the best possible chance for success. Give you the most conducive environment. Now, if they don't want to choose it and they don't want to accept that, but you did everything that you can, great, you can lay your head down at night. And I think if you take things that like what you built, our show rate booster, and you couple it with work ethic, and you couple it with that drive, I think you could actually see the show rate increase in a way that you would never realize.
Yeah, I think what you said is like really important too. Is like a lot of salespeople remember that they're talking to another human being on the other side that has like their own life and problems. And I mean, obviously they have problems because they're on the phone typically to solve some problem in their life. One of them, sure, many. And you know, they're married, they have kids, car broke down, like there's a dozen different, should I not be moving this? There's a dozen different things that could potentially pop up. And just remembering that, I remember we used to, like when I first started, we were kind of terrible to some of our prospects.
Like when you were in sales, you mean?
When I was in sales, like, full time. I mean, this would be like 3 or 4 years ago. And if someone no-showed like the first time, I think we would do this on the second time. By the second time, like they didn't show, it'd be like, well, I guess you just, you aren't ready for greatness.
Yeah.
Or, well,
and
if this is how
true. Might have been true for some of those prospects.
Sure, 100% might have been true, but there's also the importance of understanding the context. Like, there's times and place to like use those tools and tactics and to put the pressure on the prospect, and then there's times when you you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But I remember us, telling people things like that. And I remember we would tell them, I think it was like after the second time that they didn't show for a scheduled call, be like, well, if you're showing up like this for calls, how are you showing up for your clients that you're working with in your business?
Which, again,
there's validity to that.
But
there's a time and place.
Without strategic empathy, without having that empathy for them, then you're not going to be able to deliver that.
Yeah.
Because there is a time and a place to make that statement. I actually do believe that. But I don't think it's at the very beginning when you haven't even gotten the prospect to actually talk through what they're going through and going through that. There's a time to call somebody up and to charge them for the things that they want. But yeah, I think there's a lot of sales pros that will just be like, screw them, write them off, kick them to the curb. And it's like, yo, no, they actually had a medical emergency. Or maybe their freaking kid was just sick and they were exhausted and they need to push the call back a couple days. And the only reason it bothers sales pros is because they see it as, one, I'm not making money. And two, they now have to either accept responsibility for the no-show, meaning they have the ability to say, if I would just pipeline manage, right? Yeah. If I would steward all of the leads that I actually have, if I would go through, because I didn't always do it at all. I mean, the amount of times I would not steward my pipeline, the amount of times I just try to freaking one call close everybody or whatever. It's like, it took me, it was a hard lesson to learn, because I was like, wait, that's not what this game is about. Like, it's much deeper than that. It's being able to have an understanding about everything that's going on. Or two would be, they just want to blame somebody. And so it's like, great. So first, you're mad because you're not making money. And then two, you just don't want to accept ownership.
Accept responsibility.
Yeah, don't want to accept responsibility for it. So tactically, if someone's watching right now, what is something tactically you would say, hey, implement this right now, and I think this one thing will help increase your show rate right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. One thing, there's a lot of different things that you could do.
Sorry.
There's I'm gonna give them two things.
Yeah,
but
please,
they work together. First thing that I would do.
You're so generous, by the way.
I know, I'm just so giving.
You're such a giver.
Receive freely from me.
Receive freely from me.
All my knowledge. Two things. One, as a sales pro, whether you're an SDR, account executive, BDR, closer, setter, AM, LM, whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
Very first thing that I would do is I would get organized on your calendar. There's too many sales professionals out there that just fly by the seat of their pants. I would create some consistency in your calendar. Beginning of the day and end of the day, you need to have a slot. Beginning of the day, you're going through, you're checking up on consults, follow-ups, people that you haven't spoken with. But I would have a block at the beginning of the day. Just get you prepped for the day. You're checking in on all the people that you have lined up for the day.
Yeah.
People who responded to your text, your emails, whatever it was. You're just checking in with those people. End of the day, you're setting the day for tomorrow. You're blocking out. If you're looking at people, maybe you have someone on the following day who's canceled on your calendar. Well, now you know you got a free block. During that block, what are you going to do? Do outbound, text people in your pipeline, manage your follow-up. But I would set the plan for the following day, and again, end of the day, go through and confirm consults.
Yeah, that's good.
The second thing I would do is, one of the things is, everybody is so used to getting automated stuff, automated text reminders, calendar reminders, emails. All that stuff's great. I would add in a video element where anyone who's on your calendar for the following day, send them a video. Hey, this is hey Bob, I work with XYZ company. This is Jake. I was reaching out because it looks like we're booked to chat at insert this time. Super excited to chat. I sent you some material to go through, a quiz to go through, a survey. If you guys have that, check it out below. After you complete it, can you just respond to this text, or let me know what your biggest takeaways were? But that simple thing, I think, has helped so much, is just having some type of personalization that you just send out. And you don't have to send it out if you're getting booked with 30, 40 calls a week. You just have to worry about the people that have a call in 24 hours. So you're maybe sending out 5, 6 videos at the end of the day. Doesn't take that long.
Yeah. You know what I love about this is that if you want to make more money, you simply just need to increase your show rate. No matter what your closing percentage is.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. No matter, like, you got all these guys out there right now saying, sales isn't about a numbers game. You're an absolute idiot.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. It's absolutely bonkers to me because think about this. When I log into...
Sales is not a numbers game?
When I log into my bank account, do I see numbers or letters or something else?
Gibberish?
I see freaking
hieroglyphics.
Numbers. Yeah, and I want those numbers to increase over time. So I am all for people getting better. Obviously, that's what we do. We want to train people to get better in their skill set and in their craft. But at just a basic level, if you have more at-bats than someone else, no matter how well you swung, the likelihood or the probability is that you're going to hit more.
Yep.
So it baffles me that people are like, yo, I didn't hit my numbers. I didn't make my numbers. It's like, okay, there's probably a million things. But let's just focus on one tiny little thing right now that we can make a difference on today. If I took everything that you just said, that would increase my show rate and give me a higher probability to be able to do the part where I serve a prospect, help them solve a problem, close a deal, and make more money.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's so simple, and so many people overlook it. But definitely something for us to think about this coming week.
Wait, I have one question before we end this.
Oh, okay.
I'm very curious now.
Okay.
Who is saying sales isn't about numbers? I'm very confused by like that.
There's a lot.
Okay, let me rephrase my question. What is the law? I want to understand because I'm the type of person, if someone says something and I think it sounds stupid,
I don't know if I want to blast somebody.
You don't need to blast anyone. My point is, if someone says something and I think it sounds stupid,
if we're 40 episodes in, then we can start just blasting people's names.
Sure, but I'm gonna assume that I'm the stupid one.
Okay.
There's something that I don't understand. So all the stuff we've talked about is great. I believe numbers is everything when it comes to sales. But what is the argument that sales is not about numbers?
Well, I would never say something so stupid, so I don't know exactly their argument of why they would say it. But here, let me try to take a stab at why they might be saying it. One, marketing. They're just trying to get clicks. So they're trying to say something that is the opposite of what the industry is doing. Or two, what they're really trying to say is if you are better at a skill, then you don't need as much opportunity. So you don't have to worry about numbers. Just whatever opportunity you have, you just crush it and close it.
Gotcha.
Which in theory, I can understand, but that means that you are mastering something, which you don't master something overnight or in 3 months with, some crappy little course, that you don't actually get any help on, and you don't have any actual, that knowledge doesn't turn into wisdom, and then that wisdom lacks accountability for implementation. You don't have any of that. So mastery, these guys that have put in 20 years and they've mastered it, I'm like, great, maybe numbers don't matter to you because you have just mastered that. But I still think numbers always matter, and I do think that numbers have everything to do with sales in multiple ways. So.
Got it. No, it just was
Does that
fascinating.
help?
Kind of.
No?
Just it blows my mind that I don't.
There's a lot of things that blow our mind that we could talk about right now. The stupidity of how people think and process through so many things. But you know what? I bet somebody could say the same thing.
For another time, another episode.
About us. So anyways, as always, guys, thank you so much for listening, giving us your time. We're very grateful for anybody who wants to be a part of this community and what we're trying to do. We hope that what we experience, whether good or bad, you can still pull a gold nugget from it and rock with it. And if not, I hope you find something. The only thing that I hope to God we ever ask of you is this, which is, man, if you get anything out of it, would you just share it? Would you just send it along the way so that way people can also find some type of gold nugget? But other than that, man, I'm good. Yeah, it's great.
Stay sharp.
Stay sharp, man. That's the vibe. Stay sharp.